All right, so this is going to be one of our campaign recaps, as per usual. We're going through our first 25 sessions and trying to walk through what has gone on so far.
Nice. Now I actually know what's happening.
Yes.
I have always known what's happening because I am Kaya's Dark Lord of Worms, the harbinger of the end of all things.
Oh no.
Wow. Wow. That's a pretty long resume.
It gets longer, but I gave you the short version.
Oh, what's the long version?
Well, I believe you have to do some research to find that whole resume.
All right.
I can't just give you all that up front, you know. It's very top secret.
I see. I'll look you up on LinkedIn.
That
Do
was a
some
bit
Googling.
that LinkedIn was a bit after my time.
There's Kuyus, Corriger, This is actual name? There's so many on LinkedIn.
Amazing.
I assure you, none of those are me.
Oh.
Caius Allison. Wow.
Are you sure you're
There are
not the
actually a lot of people with
No,
that
I
name.
do believe
Yeah.
there's a heavy metal band named Caius that took some inspiration from my evil deeds.
You actually have a very common name on LinkedIn. I
Well,
hate to break it to you.
That's
well,
awkward.
I am the only Caius that matters. I am the Dark Lord of Evil, the
All right.
harbinger of the Age of Worms, the end of all things.
Maybe you should write that on LinkedIn then.
Very lengthy. I can't write it.
Anyways, the recap.
All right. Recap. So, you guys should all know our party. We have Valette V, Soji, Theo, and Voden. So let's see. Going through session 1, we start off in the dinky little town of Diamond Lake. I believe we started in a bar.
We
Ugh,
did.
festering little shithole.
Yes. And some people came in asking for help, and we agreed. There was a mining office that was overrun with sturges, and we were on bug killing duty.
Pretty
Um,
gross.
so we did some shopping. We visited our good friend Tidwode, bought some items, and went off to the mining office. There were barking badgers for some reason. We fought some goblins. Fought some more goblins. Some rats. Definitely a level 1 encounter.
We almost die.
I think that was later when we ran into the bugbear.
Oh, okay.
It's okay if you don't die immediately. I'll kill you eventually.
But we did end up clearing out the office. We get it revamped and turned into our home base. And that ends with some adventurers heading into the bar, looking to go treasure hunting. And it's Oric and his gang. So he brags about some stuff. He is apparently connected with Theo. And we learn about the Whispering Cairn. So we head over there. It's a giant tomb and we do some spelunking. Our first mini dungeon.
You know, back in my day, spelunking was for fucking nerds. And I ritually sacrificed all of them.
All of them.
Are we
That's a lot
Every
considering?
of.
single one.
I'd say our party's like half nerd.
Well, it's perfect then. I look forward to meeting all of you in person.
I think V is a nerd. I also think Valette is a nerd.
Well, that does seem very nerdy.
Yes.
V is absolutely a nerd.
Yes.
He
I
spends
don't know.
so much time writing in her notebook.
I don't
But the
think
staying,
Modin,
the staying
Soji,
in
or Theo
character
is
thing for a
nerds.
recap is hard.
I was wondering how long you're going to keep it up without
Yeah.
breaking.
That was a momentary character break. I'll get right back to it.
All right. Good
Okay.
luck.
Let's see. So a lot of dungeon diving stuff. We find some wolves. We get a bunch of lore about the Wind Dukes, who are air elementals that lived way back when. Oh, we find the Sturge Nest, which has been a problem around town, so we kill them.
Didn't we like burn it down or something?
Yes. A lot of exploring, a couple puzzles.
The bane of our existence.
Yes.
You
Some
know,
ghosts.
I've watched you lot do some puzzles in my day. And honestly, none of you are good at puzzles.
We know.
Entirely truthful. I cannot say anything to argue that.
Yes.
The only way to get rid of the heroic party that's trying to save the world is put a really big puzzle in front of them.
Yeah,
Very
so
complicated puzzle.
I probably shouldn't tell you this, but before you get to my final chamber, there's a giant Sudoku puzzle.
Oh no.
We'll
We are
literally just
all
be sitting there for like the rest of
It's a
time.
numerically
it's a 30
challenged.
by 30 grid, and you have to solve it all.
Oh
Please.
no. Yeah, I think you're winning at that point.
Let's see. At like the bottom-ish of the tomb, we run into the ghost of this kid. Alistar,
Yes.
who wants us to. He died down here, and he wants us to bring his remains back to his house. He's like gatekeeping this door that leads further into the tomb from us. So we take his remains and head back to his house, which is like a little bit out of town. And we find out that his family is all dead. The graves were robbed. They all died of the Red Death. It was some plague. And here is where we find the owl bear and almost die.
Times.
And V and Theo end up adopting the owlbear child.
What was his name? Like Guts or
Um,
Horse Eyeball?
yeah, Hebe,
Yeah.
horse eyeball.
I don't even
Um,
remember how we came up with that name.
Neither do I. It just happened. But there's some stuff in here about one of the mine managers. And I think we used this as a lead because we were looking up stuff for the mines. There's a disembodied arm. The remains by the bugbear. So some people got. Apparently, the people who robbed the grave tried to get into the house and they got owned by the bugbear. So we try to find some info on the arm. And this leads us to Colin? It's Colin again.
That name does not ring any bells.
There's also a Smenk.
Do I need to get off character and interject?
Yes. Smenk.
Uh,
I remember Smenk more.
Balabar Smenk was the most prominent mine manager in town, and he ran the mines that were home to the Ebon Triad, who he was knowingly working with.
Okay, yes.
Cullen was the leader of his street gang.
Okay.
Is that the guy that we were like tricking and like pretending to be like?
Cullen was
miners?
Cullen was an albino orc that
Yes.
you guys duped,
Yes.
and you didn't have to fight him because it would have been a challenging fight at your level.
Instead, we started a riot or something, didn't we?
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. We
You
tried to
went-
unionize the mine workers.
You went full labor rights.
Yes.
That's right. So we had gone snooping around Smenk's place. We talked to Colin. We convinced him to give us some information on the arm, and that led us to Smenk's mine, I think. We also learned about one of Smenk's friends, Philgay.
Phil.
Yeah.
Phil.
He had stuff to do about observing the stars. It was an observatory or something. And I think he was like a necromancer. He had some skeletons. I think Smenk was giving him like bodies to experiment with, and he had worms, and he was doing a bunch of necro stuff. There was letters between the two of them that said something about worms and unkillable zombies. And this is how the Age of Worms begins. Find some stuff. We kill Philgay. He tries to like summon a bunch of undead to fight us. That didn't work.
You know, I don't think any of you are very attentive. His name was Filge. I don't know why you thought his name was Philgay. Now, look, Philgay wasn't one of my subordinates, but I just think you should know the man's name.
You just called him Philgay.
Just so I felt it was important to reiterate how you're saying his name. I've never met this Mr. Filge myself, but you all keep calling him Philgay, and I think it's very disrespectful.
It sounds better like Philgay.
It's the best way to say his name.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, he's not on my payroll. You can call him whatever you like. I'm just saying.
And we've already dealt with him, so it doesn't matter.
Yes, he is very gone.
Um,
God,
History is written by the
I'm
winners.
gonna need a fucking cough drop after this.
History is written by the winners, and we won, so we named him as Philgay.
Therefore, he's Philgay.
Yeah. Whenever someone tries to ask us to reiterate our story, we're just gonna be like, "Yo, so there's this guy named Philgay."
Philgay. I forgot. Colin wanted Philgay's eyes, and that's why we went to go find him.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes. So V extracted the eyeball, and we delivered it. So now that that was done, you were able to put Alistair's soul to rest because there's no more bad mojo over his old house. So we go back to the tombs and solve more puzzles and do more splunking. We get a bunch more Winduke lore. We learn about the staff of. Don't know the name yet at this point.
In the Age of Arcanum.
Yes.
We all thought the Windukes were a bunch of pompous assholes.
I mean, they kind of are.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I guess on that point we are in agreement.
Oh yeah, we learned about Ecosiel, was the the weirdest spelt name ever. Find some sarcophagi. Find some items, I think. Oh yeah, the thing that controls the Sphere of Annihilation. But I think that's as far as we are able to get through the tomb at this point. So we head back home, and V gets a visit from one of her teachers, who is also named Bedenda.
We threw
Because
plates.
yes, we fought back with plates and pancakes. Because she was trying to fight V for like character growth. Theo went to go visit the court temple. There was a large show match going on.
Yes.
Um,
Now, again, I must interject. Why do I, the Dark Lord of all evil, know more about your friend's wrestling career than you do?
Maybe you're just a big fan.
I'm
'Cause
just
you like
trying to kill
wrestling.
your friend. I'm trying to kill all of you. This is just extra research on my part.
Is Caius just a really big fan?
Look,
Wrestling fan.
look, I have enjoyed some matches of physical endurance in my day.
Physical endurance enjoyer.
I mean, it is an important skill to have. Do you mean this in some other way?
No.
Not at all.
Okay then. I hope so, because idioms didn't translate so well back in my time.
Okay. Old man.
This is awful.
The best. Oh yes, Valette starts talking to the Cerberus Assembly about worm stuff, and Trent is looking. Do some research on the Windukes, and we find out about the Rod of Law. And Theo has a very good wrestling match at the court temple. Let's see. Next up, we have jobs to do from. Yes, Smank wanted us to do stuff for him. Forget what Valette's job was. But we go talk to Smank.
Your friend Valette, she was inspecting a local cult.
Oh yes.
I believe it was a local priest who was taking a very extreme approach to the worship of Pelor.
Yes, the self what's the term for it?
Self-flagellating.
Yes, that the communal whip. So there's research around the cult, and then Smenk wanted. What did Smenk want? Needed access to Jiren. Smenk had not a great relationship with the Ebon Triad.
The Ebon Triad had threatened his life because he had learned too much.
Yes, as evil villains tend to do.
So he
So
wanted you to take them out of the picture.
to save himself, which kind of overlapped with our goals because they were, I mean, evil cult in town. So, but then let's see. So Valette's job was through the mayor's brother, who is like the only magician in town. And he wanted us to do research on the Ebon Triad as well in the mines. And Commander Trask, who is like the head of the guard in town,
I
wants
must say,
us to look
it was
into.
beautiful when my troops came to town a few weeks later on and absolutely speared him to a fucking sign. It was fucking beautiful.
Yes, well, that is in a few weeks.
I'm just trying to think of when we accidentally ghosted that one guy. When did that happen? Did it happen already?
That was in like session 3. That was
Yeah,
Lasco.
that
Okay.
happened. Yeah, we there was one of
So,
the like guards that we befriended.
So, reminder. Out of character. I named Lasco after a brand of like
Fans?
fans from CVS.
Please.
So there's a CVS in my neighborhood because it's summer right now. They keep the fans right in the window. So every time I walk by, I'm like, I'm so sorry, Lasco. We ditched you.
Just
This is
at the window
fine.
being like, why?
But we ditched him in like session like 3 because I forgot about him.
He's just
Because
sitting
he
there.
wasn't written in the campaign, so I just like threw him in there to like give you someone else to work with, and then I totally forgot about him.
We're
Amazing.
like, wait a second, wasn't there a dude named Lasco that's just sitting there being like, where do you guys go? I thought we were gonna meet up at the bar.
And then
Yeah,
we
so
did.
y'all came to the bar with Lasco, and then you immediately ditched his ass once something else more interesting showed up.
Yes. I mean,
Good
to be
times.
fair, that was like right before we went into the tombs, I think.
Yeah,
And so
you were with Lasco, and then the adventuring party from Port Damali came in. You were like, those guys.
yes,
They're on
these guys.
something.
Oh yeah, that's when we're like, oh, let's like follow them to find treasure. And then we
Yes.
absolutely just forgot about Lasco and left him
Yeah.
there.
I think you guys encountered Lasco like 10 sessions later. He was like, "Yeah, it's cool, guys. I'm not bothered. Never want to talk to you again. It's cool."
Parentheses, he was very bothered.
Yes, narrator voice. He was very bothered.
It's
To
okay.
be-
He's dead.
We
Oh,
also did
no.
spend like 4 sessions in the tombs or something, so we were going to forget about him one way or the other
Oh, Lasco was a very good man until he died.
until he died. And then
He
that's it.
died in the dragon attack, to
I
be
guess-
clear, which
I
we'll
guess-
get to.
I guess God confirmation that he died at there for that time.
Yes.
We will get to the dragon attack momentarily.
Soon. So this arc is like the cult arc. I think presented with all those 3 jobs, we decide to go after the Bane cult. Who is led by High Priestess Theldrick?
Yes. Theldrick. Always so loyal. Always so fucking wrong.
This is where we had to do some snooping around at the church, discussing the communal church whip.
This is
And,
where we were like pretending to we wanted like a tour and stuff.
Before we
Yes.
venture further into the Ebon Triad, can I just briefly interject out of character?
Yes.
Caius knows a lot about the Ebon Triad, and he's just gonna say a lot of very snarky things.
I mean,
And don't look into it.
okay.
All right.
I am expecting this anyway, but sure.
So we were like,
Um,
we're like, hey, like let's have a tour, like and like talking about the communal whip and stuff like that.
yes. Please show us around this lovely facility that you have
We're
here.
thinking about converting, you know.
Yes. And he was very enthusiastic and showed us around. And I think a couple of us like snuck around and investigated, and we found
I
a
think it
secret
was like,
passageway.
yeah, I think it was like Valette, and then like I don't know, someone else. Was it voted or something?
I think so. I think it was Voden and V were snooping, and Valette and um Theo and I guess Soji also were like trying to distract him.
Yeah, I talking about the whips and stuff like that.
Yes. Um so we found that and then we snuck in and we basically just fought all the cultists. We eventually found Theldrick. We fight them. That was an interesting fight because there was you were like on a balcony or something and there was a statue that we were prompted to knock down to like make a path to reach up to the balcony, but we kept failing the strength check to knock the statue over. So that was an interesting fight. But after that, we report back to Trask, and he said this was good, but we need more evidence for Smenk because we were trying to get dirt on Smenk so he could get arrested. That's right. That's what we were.
Bunch of fools, Jason. A bunch of fools.
Yes. So we went for the next cult, which is Grumsh. Grumsh. I think this is like the orc cult or something. This is the one where we. Is this the one?
Oh,
V disguised herself as Cubbins, who is the leader of like this mine area. And we go in. Grimlocks. Mind Flayer people.
You just say mind flayer people?
Yes.
That would be wrong.
Humans twisted by mind flayers? That's what we have.
What are Grimlocks? I don't remember.
Grimlock. Transformers wiki. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Grimlock,
Is this a
D&D.
race of monstrous humanoids that lived in the Underdark?
Yeah, I mean they're basically just humanoids that have been twisted by the Underdark.
Oh, by
They're
the
not
Underdark. Okay, so
not
not
actually tied to mind flayers.
not mind flayer. Okay.
They're a bunch of fucking golems.
Yeah.
Oh, it's based on the Morlocks from the Time Machine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They just changed the Moor to Grim. Their challenge rating is a 4th.
Pretty low level. But anyway, we fight a bunch of those. Not remember this part at all. We fought
So
the leader. Yeah,
yeah, so you
Beholder Eye.
you guys went in there, and the leader of the this particular branch of the Ebon Triad was an individual named I have it here somewhere.
It's Grlock Kerr.
Yeah, Yeah, Glocker. I
Yes.
apparently didn't write it down in my notes.
Amazing.
But he was basically just high on shrooms the entire time, and he was basically like the Ebon Triad prophet, and he was the one doing all like the prophetic research.
Oh yeah, I remember now. He was high, and we got like a surprise round.
Growlicker was his name.
Yes, and we like completely destroyed him.
Yeah, because you fucking got the jump on him and you killed him in like 3 turns.
Yes.
That sounds like 6SOR.
Yep.
Yeah, but right. It was more like 18 seconds, but you know.
This is fine.
If the battle gets any longer, we start falling off.
Yeah. I'm
very glad that there are these moments where David has to interject in and drop the chain smoker voice because it's very hard on my throat.
Let's see. So the last cult to deal with is the faceless one. Which is based.
Those fucking Vecna assholes.
Yes. Based around the Dower Stone mine. This is where we try to unionize. Yes, because we try to sneak into the mine, we pretend to be workers, we forge some IDs. Things are kind of sketchy inside, whatever. But we get into the mines and start socializing. Oh yeah, the walls are creepy in this mine. There are hands and stuff that try to attack us from the walls. There are some skeletons. I think like the walls give us visions when we try to interact with them. And
Oh, was it the one where like the walls were like there was like one of like fire or something like that?
I think so.
The walls had no, those fucking those Ebon Triad goons who served that lesser god Vecna. They had all up in their temples these columns that launched off undead hands and would try to grab you if you came too close. Now, back in my day, I always thought Vecna was a clown. He could never do what I could do.
He tried.
So if it wasn't hands, what would he use if it wasn't hands?
He's turned a god with worms.
You
God,
really
I
like
hate
worms,
everything.
don't you?
The worms are the ultimate sign of the undead. They replenish the dead bodies after they've decayed.
Wow.
It is a symbiotic relationship.
So what came first, the worms or the Caius?
Yeah. The worms came second. It was just a preferential form after my years of studying the dead.
I see. The perfect
I'm sorry if I'm stuttering. It's very hard to talk with all these worms in my mouth.
Too many worms.
That's pretty gross, but
I must admit,
to you.
when I tried to become a god, I did not exactly picture having a mouthful of worms every single day, but that's my existence now.
Can you use your
you
god
live like
powers to
this.
unworm yourself?
Or just
I've
a
tried,
mouth.
but I think I might have miscalculated my formula, and now I'm just stuck like this.
I apologize.
Amazing.
We need to end this recap before I lose my voice.
we are at session 8 of 25.
Oh
God. So we deal with all the Vecna people. And we learn about there's a scroll that describes the Ebon aspect, and it explains some stuff about the lizard folk in the swamps that are somehow connected to this. And there's a chest that we bring to Trask that has our magic weapons in it that make us super OP.
Yeah, it was pretty terrible when my weapon changed colors. You know, I'm not all about the blue.
But alas.
But you know, it's pretty strong, so I guess I can't complain.
Yes. Huh. We get back to town. Oh yeah, the giant not behemoth. What is it?
You came back to town, and those goons from the Ebon Triad had summoned the aspect of their overgod, who combined elements of their three gods, Vecna, Grumshan,
The other
Erithno.
guy.
Yes.
No, Erithno is the Greyhawk god.
The other one.
Bane.
Bane.
The one no one cares about, right?
You guys don't know about Erithno. He's from another multiverse.
Please.
I've tried this a couple times. I'm sorry.
A couple.
How many is a couple? Like 3?
At least 3. Eventually, I'll get it. I'm pretty sure this right now, this time we're talking about right now is the time. You all seem like a bunch of chumps.
Doesn't that mean you're pretty bad at this?
But this is the time.
Are you
For a god to
sure?
have to take more than once to try and take over the world.
How sad
Look.
will it be if we beat you?
Well, look, if I fail, I tried Faerun, I tried Greyhawk. If I can't get fucking Exandria, I'll just throw up my hands and move on with my life. Sit in this fucking
With your wormy life.
fire of failure to the end of times.
You know, I think you need a hobby, like maybe like Uno. Have you considered trying Uno?
I know Uno is very popular in the demonic realms, but it's not my thing.
Are you sure? Have you tried it?
You know, first I'm gonna focus on conquering the world of Exandria, and if I can't do that, then perhaps I'll consider this game of Uno.
All right. After we beat you, you can. I heard
We
there's
have,
like a demonic league of Uno somewhere.
Yes,
it came to me in a
weekly
dream.
tournaments.
My understanding is that it is a very competitive tournament, but I'm sure I could take it. But that is not my immediate priority. God, I'm gonna lose my fucking voice.
It's fine. We're not playing tomorrow.
Yes. It's okay, Caius. You don't need to try to sound scary. We won't judge you any other way.
This is great.
Let's see. So we beat the Ebon aspect. We finally present all the evidence to Trask, and we get Smenk and everyone arrested. So the town is now cleared of all the cults.
Now, if you haven't been tuning into our campaign, and you don't know how to picture Mr. Balabar Smenk, now I've been through some portals in the multiverse, and I've been into this one world. The city was called Boston. If you really want to picture Balabar Smenk, there's this person in Boston, well, in the universe of Boston, called Mr. Donald Trump. That's Balabar Smenk.
I don't know who this Donald Trump is, but I know who Smank is. So
I tell you, it's a fitting match.
That sounds very terrible.
It's absolutely awful. I hate the man. Even by my standards, he is extremely shit.
I thought worms like shit.
We like a different kind of shit.
Understandable.
Let's see. We have some downtime. Share some inter-party lore. Learn about Theo's family. Learn about Voden's backstory, the attack on his village.
Uncle Voden.
And yes, Voden time. And Volette tries to bond with the party by drawing pictures of everyone. Yes, so Alliston hires us to go to the Oathmore Keep because he's heard of news of worms and zombies and lizard folk. So we are to escort him and figure out what's going on. So we travel into the swamp. There's some lizard folk who try to mug us in the middle of the night, but we intimidate them away.
Wasn't it for like a birthday party or something like that?
For their king, yes.
Oh.
They wanted a gift. They're looking for treasure for their king, and we tell them to leave. And so
Yeah,
they
that was
leave.
pretty weird.
They
I
were
think
they
we
were
threatened. I think Valette specifically threatened them.
yes,
She's quite a violent gal.
because of Valette.
Yes.
I don't think they were the bad lizard folk, but
No,
we didn't know that.
they were the fine ones, but we
Yes.
were like, why are you trying to steal our stuff in the middle of the night?
Yes. So we get to the Oathmore Keep. And it's not in great shape. It's been attacked by a bunch of lizard folk, and also they have some zombies locked up in the basement. And Allison is like, "Okay, I'll get help from Diamond Lake. You guys wait here." So we try to figure out what's going on at the keep.
I think was it like V and Valette that broke into the area where they're keeping those zombies?
Yes, so they didn't tell us that they had zombies, or did they? I don't remember.
No, they didn't tell us. They were like
They,
guarding the door,
yeah,
and
they
like they
They
didn't tell us what
tried
was
so
there.
hard to
they were
tell
trying to
you
keep it
that
from us.
everything was okay, but they were horrible liars.
Yes.
Yes.
So we got suspicious, and they checked the room, and they found out that there were zombies. So we confronted the commander of the keep, Benna, and ended up deciding to fight them, I think.
Yes, I think.
Was this before or after the lizard folk attacked?
I think it was before because we wanted to deal with the zombie situation before the
I
lizard
miss
folk came out.
I tuned out for like 30 seconds.
Please.
The dealing with the zombies came before the lizard folk came back, right?
Yes, because you guys were very insistent on looking into them. Because like they were very like weirdly guarding the door, and you guys were
Yes.
already on edge about dead people. So you're like, we're looking at these doors, and me, the DM, was like, can you wait? God, this is for the end of the adventure. You were like, we're doing this right now.
Yeah, I remember V and Valette were like
Yes.
especially like very much like we need to do this right now.
Because we were worried about what would happen if, like,
If
they
they
broke
got
out
out, yeah,
while we were
while we
under
were fighting,
siege.
yeah.
So, okay. Um, so we dealt with the zombies in the basement, and then and then the lizard folk came in the morning.
Yeah, but
So
before that, we had to prepare the soldiers because they were really terrible. They were,
yes.
like, obviously new recruits, so we had to kind of get them up to speed on how to defend a castle, which was something.
Yes, we did all sorts of like fast track training,
Yeah, like drills and, like, making the defenses better.
setting up traps,
Yes.
utilizing the high ground.
Yes.
Um, but then the lizard folk attacked. And we fight their leaders. So, well, we end up beating them and decide to head for the lizard folk like base to try and stop things before they like mount another attack because it's going to be a couple days until Allison gets back with reinforcements. Except on the way fought a basilisk and Voden got petrified. Good times.
Good times.
So they're like, well, either we go back the keep and lose all of this progress, or we keep going and hope we find something. Um, so the party just kept going.
I'm realizing now that I probably should have infected some basilisks with my worms, and that would have put an end to this adventure right here and there.
Wormsilisks.
Well,
The wormslisk, exactly.
uh, I guess you were a little bit too cocky, and that's why we lived.
Yes.
Well, I will not make this mistake again. Going forward, I will only send the wormsilisks.
Hopefully you'll forget after this.
You guys owe me for this.
I'll give you one gold piece.
Take it or leave it.
Yes. Cause we're really poor, you know?
Very. It's not like we have 9k gold each.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
But we make it to the lizard folk tribe. And we so there was like two factions of lizard folk. There's the original ones who were there who don't really care about the humans, and then there's this new tribe that came in and sort of took over under the lead of one of the dragons. And they had infected like the nursery, a bunch of worms, the hatchery.
Yes, but you didn't know about that until you got into the nursery and found out they were all infected.
All wormy.
You just know. You just knew. Hishka had told you that something had gone horribly wrong with the previous year's hatching.
Yes. But she told us that if we could help with the hatchery, then she would help try and patch things up with the keep. She gave us a cure to unpetrify Vodin and told us, yes, Shukak, best lizard folk.
Yes, Shukak, my great grandchild.
Amazing.
An absolute disappointment.
I hope you weren't the one that named Shoecock.
No, he was already born. I just adopted him.
I see.
Ah. Oh, yes. The other reason that we went to the lizard folk tribe is to rescue Marzana, who was Aliston's contact at the keep, who supposedly had all this research on like the worms and stuff. but she got kidnapped in the first attack on the keep. And
Oh
so
yeah,
we were
that's why
trying
we
to
wanted
rescue her.
we were like for sure had to go because we're like she had research stuff.
Yes. And they were like sacrificing people to Ilthane or something. So we rest up and then sneak our way through the tribe and find Chukok in the hatchery. Fight him and like one of his shamans or like his like lieutenant or something. And then a bunch of worm folk eggs that hatched on us.
My teenage associates call it a secondary Hokage.
Please.
I don't know what this Hokage is.
I didn't realize Caius had teenage associates.
Right?
I like my undead of all ages. It's important to get a wide range.
I guess it's very open.
But all these kids went around and kept calling me Hokage.
I think that's supposed to be a good thing. I guess you should be proud to be Hokage.
Okay, now Caius is making Naruto references. This has gone too far.
We've gone too deep.
We're halfway through this recap.
Yes, we're getting there. Also, this is where we learned that the worms can like burrow into people. And we almost get some people zombified. We managed to keep them from taking over. So after defeating Shukok, we go to the hatchery, and there's a wormling, as in a young dragon, not a worm, Age of Worm. So we fight the baby dragon, some worm zombies.
You murdered a bunch of babies just because they had some worms in them. Are you really the heroes of this story?
Yes, because they were evil babies. I think this is when we come up with Success OR.
Yes, it was.
It
was after you murdered your second baby in 6 seconds.
Well, you know, sometimes you have to murder babies for the good of the world.
I don't think anyone has ever said that before this moment.
Well, you can say I'm the first one to say that.
Well, I guess in that way you are a pioneer. It may not be in the best way, but if that makes you feel good, then I suppose so.
A pioneer in baby killing.
Please.
If that makes you happy.
Well, it doesn't make me unhappy.
So hard to keep up.
Amazing. So after we clear out the hatchery of all the infected eggs, we report back to Hishka. She does like a transfer of power ritual and takes over the tribe again. And sends someone to help negotiate with the Oathmore Keep. We rush back through the swamp, get to the keep. And there are more zombies. I think we like fought some of them, but didn't kill all of them the first time around, or maybe there were worms left over or something.
Yes, you had encountered some of my spawn when you first entered the keep, but you didn't do a full deep dive into everything I had there. You didn't go into the basement because
So
the basement was guarded by guards. You were very suspicious, but by the time you came back, they had broken out.
Yes. I had to fight a bunch of zombies. And then Allison shows up after all the fighting is done, because of course he does. We share information with Marzana, tells us about worms, and we learn about Elagos over on the coast. And the Crescent's Presence district.
Okay,
Since
I
Crescents?
believe we are at the halfway point of this breakdown.
Yes.
Can we take a break? Because I actually need a cough drop.
Okay. That's fine. We are ending session 12 and entering session 13.
Okay, I'll be back right away.
Okay.
Alright. I was thinking, based on Hokage, because Hokage's like the fire, like Kage, you know? So I was thinking Highest would be like the worm Kage, right?
Yes.
I think in Japanese, worm is like Mimizu or something, so Caius is the Mimizu Kage.
Worm in Japanese. I guess so. Zenchu? Momushi?
Zenchu? I don't know. Oh, it says Mimizu is earthworm. I guess there's like different
Oh,
kinds of
yeah.
worms. I don't know. What kind of worms does Caius
It's
like?
Caius. Parasite. Glowworm.
Glowworm?
There are so many kinds of worm.
Why is there so many different kinds of worms?
Caius, the worm Kage. Send tweet.
I dig it. What god is like the fire god for the Hokage? Is there like a fire god in 5e verse?
Fire? I don't think so.
Unfortunate. So there's no actual Hokage.
No. Let's see. Naruto Kages.
I know there's like the water one and the sand one.
Fire, wind, water, lightning.
Oh, so lightning would be like, what is it?
Word.
Cord.
Yes.
So
I'm back.
cord is the Raikage.
Yes.
Oh, fuck all of you. Okay, so I'm back. Before we venture into part 2, there is one thing I would like to expand on from the recap of part 1.
Yes.
So out of character, I am no longer at this moment Caius.
The worm
Okay.
Kage.
While the Wind Dukes have so far, up to this point in the campaign, not campaign, that's not a word, campaign, played a relatively minor role. They do have some significance later on. So I just want to reiterate that the Wind Dukes, also known as the Vadi, were the original reigning civilization of the world of Exandria before the gods arrived. They were the original civilization, and when the gods arrived, everything was okay for a little while, and then the gods came, and after everything settled down, the other non-Winduke primordials came to the surface, and they started warring with the gods and the Windukes in what is now known as the it's more like knowledge among like the intellectuals, the War of Law and Chaos, the original war that preceded the Great Schism that resulted in the prime deities and the betrayer gods. It was like the preceding conflict. But the Wind Nukes were ultimately successful in their original war. Once the actual schism broke out, they fled because, like, oh, fuck this. We just fought a fucking war. We lost half of our civilization. Now the gods are fucking fighting. We're gone. We're done. We're going back to the plane of air. That place is cooler. But they were very instrumental in originally establishing order in the material plane. And that is all I wanted to say.
Okay. So they just yeeted after
Yeah,
when
so
everything broke out.
so
They didn't go extinct.
They had a great civilization. The gods came. When the gods came, the gods spent a couple millennia crafting the world, enhancing it, if you will, because the gods are not of this world. And then after a couple millennia of crafting the world, the non-air Winduke primordials were like, "Hey, who says you get all the say?" They came up to the surface. They were mostly Earth elementals, and they were like, "Yeah, fuck this shit." They teamed up with a bunch of demons, and they fought the gods and the Windukes in what is now known as the War of Law and Chaos. Ultimately, the side of law won that war with a little instrument called the Rod of Law. And at the end of that war, after the forces of chaos retreated, the gods had a little dispute amongst themselves, which ultimately became the Great Schism between the prime deities and the betrayer gods. And once that happened, the Windukes were like, "Yeah, we've had enough. We're gone."
Amazing.
Understandable.
I mean, yeah, fair.
That may eventually play a small development, but I can't tell you that right now because
Windukes will come back and help us fight Caius.
I don't
Confirmed.
know about that. I don't know about that.
They will reform the Rod of Law and use it.
It might be more like a throwaway paragraph in a line of text.
It'll
About
be
your
the smallest cameo.
it might be a small description about your divine right. But okay, we'll get to there in a year.
Yes, at some point.
Okay, the floor is yours, Ron.
Okay. So after settling things at the Oathmore Keep, we head over to Port the Molly in order to meet up with Elagos, a friend, air quotes friend, of Allison.
I know. I've been listening to your conversations, and you keep saying air quotes.
Yes.
I think
Yes.
we all know they were fucking.
They were, but not
Okay.
like current.
I think we're probably all adults here. I mean, I'm like 2,500 years old, so I'm at the point where I can just say, yeah, they were fucking.
Okay.
You're starting the feel when Caius is starting to sound like Joji.
He just keeps getting more and more chain smoky, and I don't know what to do about it.
I mean, maybe Caius smokes a lot. He has so many worms in his mouth. Maybe that's just
So
how
glad he
deals
doesn't
with
have
it.
any actual words in the campaign.
Please.
You know what's really fun for 6OSOR to say friends in air quotes though.
Yes.
It's more fun to say friends than their
God,
Friends.
you're all a bunch of fucking children. They were just fucking.
I
What's
mean,
wrong with a couple of grown men fucking?
in comparison to 2,500 years old, I think we're kind of babies.
Yeah, so you can't really blame us.
Wasn't
Oh,
V
okay then.
like
Well,
16?
I suppose you children will figure it out eventually.
How old is V again? Like 16 years old?
Yeah, like super young.
Baby.
Yes, an actual baby, a baby among babies.
The babyest.
Yes, the baby, the classical singer.
All right, so we bribe our way into town. Um, we end up having to fight a thing because some uh like circus thing is parading this monster around the streets and it breaks loose. Um, we find Eligos and we meet his nice little halfling butler, Pollard. He invites us to dinner. We discuss the Age of Worms and show off all the research that we found from Marzana and Alistan. He needs some time to digest. And so we go sightseeing. We also do some shopping. Valette has some flashbacks of surgery.
What did we buy? Is this where we went to go buy armor?
Yes, we bought a bunch of
Yeah, you guys bought a
upgrades.
bunch of armor. During this time, Valette also ran into her brother, who was
Brother.
Oh
running.
yeah, at the Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was running the newly opened local branch of the Uemura trading company.
Yeah, and we were buying armor and it was like, "Are you my brother?" And he was like pulls out shotgun. I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
man.
You guys were like, Valette was like, yeah, because her brother was like, oh, you're kind of familiar, but I've never met you before. And Valette was like, I feel like I know you. Hey, wait, who's been dead for 30 years? And he was like, please get the fuck out of my office. I
And
don't know you.
we were standing there with our Walmart branded armor being like, can we buy this?
He ultimately did sell you your merchant.
Yes.
Yes.
And
But
then
he was
Eventually.
and then we went to go enchant our armor at the an actual smithy and they were like, "I can't believe you bought armor from Walmart." And we're like, "Oh." We're like,
But they did spice it up pretty nicely.
yeah, spiced up Walmart armor. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not from around here. How am I supposed to know Walmart branded armor was a bad thing? Like, no one told me that.
You got that great value plate mail.
Yeah, like, no one told me. They're like, hey, don't shop at Walmart
The cheap
armor.
stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
We're
from this
we're not
continent.
locals.
Yeah. If you walk into a store and they have armor, you're not gonna say like, "Oh, this is like really shitty armor," you know?
This is bad quality.
Yeah, but the big thing there was that Valette had her first moments of doubt about who she was. Well,
Yes.
Yeah.
her first moment of doubt was when Aliston Alistor, the ghost boy,
Yes, Ghost Boy.
he briefly possessed her,
Oh, and
and
he was
and
scared.
he was like, "Yo, what the fuck is going on in there?"
And the rest of the party was like, sus, a little
Yeah.
suspicious.
Press X to
Also,
doubt.
also, I was very suspicious at the, like the mask that Valette had,
Yeah,
and
right. Because the mask had a local family insignia on it that you recognized.
yes, one that I fought many times. So it's a little suspicious.
It was almost like you murdered their entire family.
Almost, but the party doesn't know that yet. So
Yet.
yes,
You very
Hashtag
closely
soon.
hinted at it last session.
yes. But they were still confused. I don't know what they think about that, but yeah, we'll see. I suppose later on in the
All
future.
right. Okay. The floor is yours again, Ron.
So while we're exploring in town, we get caught up in a bit of a changeling plot. Take over the port. This the innkeeper gets attacked, and for some reason everyone thinks that Valette did it. There's like this angry mob that tries to get us arrested. And we barely manage to talk our way out of it. And then we find out that the leader of the mob was a changeling.
A minor development before you got attacked by the angry mob. While
Yes.
you were just having dinner, you were approached by a
Oh yes.
kobold man and his half-elf bard friend.
Yes.
One Bupo Verdanovsky Thalis and a young bard named Lord, what the fuck is his name?
Lord, what the fuck is his name? Yes.
Something Gavos.
Yes. Your long lost son.
Galather? Or
Oh yeah.
Galathar Gavos.
Yeah.
And Mr. Bupo led this entire conversation. He was like, "Hey,
You're not
you
human.
don't seem like a person. What up? Let me know." And predictably, Valette was like, "You're a weirdo. Get the fuck away from me before I kill you."
The rest of the party
Yes.
was like, dude, what the fuck did he just say to our party member?
Yes. Like how dare you accuse Valette of not being human? Valette is clearly human.
Like, look at her.
Narrator voice. Valette was not human.
As human as they come.
This man's friend goes on to write your biography.
Yes. This is fine. We go exploring a warehouse. Find more changelings. Shapeshifters. We snoop around. We find out that they've basically been trying to infiltrate like high society. Been impostering.
At what point was the one where Theo goes off on a run?
So that was that morning, like before we got attacked by the mob.
Oh, I see.
Yes, it was the same morning.
Yes.
A very dastardly plan, if you would say so.
Honestly, yes, that was.
And it worked quite well.
I commend you. It was very effective.
Theo Changeling actually like killed the mob changeling in order to make sure that we couldn't interrogate him, and we didn't even notice.
I mean, that was the whole session where, like, you know, maybe Steph is like tired or like doesn't want to use her ability. I don't know, maybe something,
Yes.
and then it worked to the story's favor.
Yes.
That was like a pretty hard thing to pull off because I was like, okay, Steph, I'm gonna need you to do this because Theo has 0 perception, so no one else is gonna fall for this. No one else is gonna get jumped.
No one else will get kidnapped.
So I need you to do this for maybe a session, maybe 2. It depends on how productive the party is. Just roll with it.
It's
And
funny
the entire
because,
time,
like,
you guys are dungeon diving, and I'm telling Steph, you know what? Just roll with it. Do whatever they say. Act your part.
it's
This
just
is
funny
fine.
because, like, the whole time, like, all of us were thinking, like, oh, like Steph's playing Theo differently. Like, I think we were all like, yeah, she's not using any of her abilities, but we were just like, oh, maybe that's just Steph. And it all just worked.
Yeah, because like Steph had Theo had access.
Waiting for the crit.
Fake Theo had access to all of Theo's physical abilities, but none of like the divine abilities.
So no magic, no healing.
Yeah,
no
it's
lay on
like
hands.
we all noticed it, but we were just like, oh, okay.
Where's the smite? Come on.
Yeah.
And nothing
Where's
happened.
like no smite? Okay. Maybe next time.
But like we get through this whole like maze thing that's under the warehouse. We find a bunch of doppelgangers, and then we find Theo and find out that the Theo that's with us is a doppelganger who then stabs Valette. We have this whole like 6 SOR versus 6 SOR changeling version fight. And then we find the like mastermind behind everything is Telekin
Yes, Telekin was the leader of the doppelgangers.
of the doppelgangers. But he is also being puppeted by a mind flayer, who we found, but he managed to escape. I think. Yeah, there's a mind flayer controlling some drow. And we fight the drow, and we try to fight the mind flayer, but he like it's off. And with the information, like there's a
told
whole bunch of
Rachnian
stuff.
I told Rachnian 1,000 times he should have just done it himself, but he had to hire those fucking doppelgangers and they couldn't do shit.
Yes. I mean, it worked out for us.
Well, that's not the point. I'm supposed to be killing all of you.
You'll have plenty of chances to do that.
And I will.
Luck with that.
What do you mean, like I'm gonna kill you all? This is my ascension. This is the age of worms.
Okay, good luck with that.
So there was a whole bunch of stuff in Telekin's room that's had information showing that okay, all these doppelgangers are pretending to be guards and stuff, and finding like taking all of this information, trying to take over. So he took all of that, and we were gonna give it to the authorities, but then we were like, maybe the authorities are more doppelgangers, so he gave it all to Elagos because we trust Elagos more than. Well, he's like the only person we know in town.
Yeah, we don't want to accidentally give it to a doppelganger and be like, look, doppelganger. So like, oh, yeah, sure. We'll take
I'll
that.
take care of that. Burns all the papers. So after that, we go shopping. We find Uemura's, and that's when Valette has her like realization. Meets her brother. Oh yeah, Valette also has a religious awakening and begins to worship the Raven Queen.
Coffin for a night. What a bunch of fucking weirdos.
Yep, coffin for a night.
You know, my old god, he never wanted us to sleep in coffins. He was a fucking schmuck, so I tried to usurp him, and that didn't quite work out, but I was planning on it.
Okay, old man. Let's get you to bed.
It's like that the okay grandma meme.
Yep.
Um
We also had party
oh
tension at the end of that last session when we tried to get Voden to ask about Valette's backstory,
yes.
and
Uh,
then V was like, "Yo, back off," and we're like, "Oh,
whoa.
we're
Whoa there. We're just trying to
feel bad
help.
about that." Yeah.
Um
Though knowing what we know later on in this session, I guess it was understandable.
yeah. It all makes sense. Um let's see. We do some more investigating to try and find more information about the mind flayer because we can't have a mind flayer wandering around town. We do get to something that's called the Cold Forge. I think this is where it's like set up base.
The Cold Forge was it was just like a smith shop. The actual shop had nothing to do with it, but the Mind Flayer was based in the sewers under the Cold Forge.
Under the fort.
You guys actually interrogated the blacksmith, and he was, while an absolute asshole, had no idea what you were talking about.
Yes. So we get under the Cold Forge and find a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of traps.
Octopens, am I right? With
Yes.
all their tentacles.
Yes. At the center of it all, we finally find the Mind Flayer. Kill it.
Wiggly wiggly in your brain, giggly giggly.
Yes,
Nice
that's
one.
exactly what it sounds like.
I didn't realize Caius was good at rhyming.
I've had many millennia to practice.
To practice.
It's been a couple centuries in between my apocalypse attempts.
That's what you do in between on your free time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gotta do something.
You look. If you're not trying to end the world, you gotta, just work on your hobbies.
Amazing. So in the Mind Flayer's base, we find information about the where'd it go?
The apostolic.
Yes. Scroll, which is bad news.
So at this point, you had acquired the apostolic. No, you read a ledger that said the Mind Flayer had sold the apostolic scrolls to one Loris Arachnian.
Yes.
You didn't know what the apostolic scrolls were.
Right. But we did know that Ragnian was hosting the tournament. Something. And so we decided that in order to find more information about the tournament, or about the scrolls, we would join the tournament and see if we could use that as a way to snoop around.
You did join the tournament. You had a little help from a friend named Celeste.
Yes.
Perhaps I should have had her killed first.
Yeah, V was really
My
into the
bad.
idea of joining a tournament. V and Theo.
Yes, a couple of you were very intent on showing your martial prowess. But perhaps I should have gotten ahead of the game and just gotten your introduction to the tournament eliminated in the first place. I should have had Celeste killed.
Maybe. Or maybe you could have had someone actually stronger participate in the tournament.
Look, I didn't book the tournament. I just needed it to happen.
But if you really want your plans to succeed, you gotta put in just a little bit more hard work.
Look, I'm a demigod. My schedule is very booked. I don't have time for every little thing that goes wrong.
Maybe you need a little worm secretary.
Well, I've tried, but worms don't have fingers. They can't
A
write.
sacral worm.
What if it's like 5 worms tied up to each other?
We have those. They're called morgues, and they all just stick it on their tongues.
Oh, I guess
Very weird.
I guess they don't make very good secretaries.
I mean, you guys have encountered a couple of those.
Yeah, maybe the whole worm thing isn't. Maybe that's like kind of your downfall. The whole.
Well,
worms.
look, it's already too late. I'm already a giant heaping pile of worms. I can't change this now.
I guess you work with what you have, right?
Vecna be damned.
Blames Vecna.
Yes. When all else fails, blame Vecna. So let's see. Celeste gets us into. Well, no. Celeste doesn't do much. It's Acom.
Celeste is the one that introduced us to Acom, right?
Yes.
Yes.
But Acom is the one who became our manager.
So
Yes.
Celeste is a friend of Elagos who needed help getting tournament participants for her friend.
Yes.
Her friend was
So,
like super suspicious, but we're like, sure, why not?
Celeste was the friend of a friend.
Yeah. We're like, sure, thanks. And then we met Acom and we're like, you're really suspicious, but like, we'll still do it.
Yeah.
Yes. Proceed.
Kind of sketchy, but we did it anyway. So Acom like explains all the rules of the tournament to us. We're like, okay, we can use the like downtime days to snoop around, and hopefully we find something.
This is where the name was officially born, right?
Yes, because we have to introduce ourselves. And Acom introduces us as 6SOR. When we get to the place for the tournament, Ragnian shows up with like a posse, and Auric and his whole team shows up, and turns out he's like the champion of last year's tournament. So he's like the guy to beat. We have dinner, do some small talk with the other groups, meet Badlands Revenge. They were fun.
What was the group of kids? What were they called again?
Vermin Patrol.
Yeah,
They
Vermin
were
Patrol.
they were definitely my favorite other party. They were creepy, but like interesting creepy. You know, you're like kind of fascinated, like, wow, that's so creepy, but like I want to know more. It was kind of like that.
As the DM, Varmint Patrol was just like, because like in the adventure, they were like basically like the only like groups that were laid out were the groups that you actually fought, which Varmint Patrol was not one of them. So I just needed Varmint Patrol to be a red herring.
Amazing.
So I like detailed them out, but I might actually use them in a follow up campaign now.
I mean, they were pretty great. So
Yeah, they are. You flesh them out well.
yeah,
They work well with my ideas for what a follow up campaign would be. So I might come back to that.
was Badlands the vegan group, or was that
Um,
a different one?
I think
it was
that was the vegan group.
yes, it was.
Where we were like, yeah, we're totally vegan too.
It was a group of vegan gnolls and a djinn.
Yeah. And they were like, we can't find the vegan food at the breakfast area or something. They were like, yeah, totally. It sucks that there's no vegan food. Us too.
Look at all this meats and no vegan food.
Yeah, like crazy.
It was a group of gnolls and like a human man.
Yeah.
The djinn was a separate group.
Which one was the djinn?
That was Sapphire Squad.
Oh, yeah. And then there was like the men hating elves.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that was Arcane Auriga, which was the first team you fought.
Yeah, where we like obliterated them. That was
Yeah,
pretty
I mean
That
you,
was
you
good.
fucking obliterated all the teams. It was very one sided.
This is fine.
We're pretty good as a party, I'd say. Especially the Valette and Vodin combo. That's pretty strong.
Yes. Just nuke these guys. Okay, so yeah, first round, we rock. And then before we start sneaking around, Acom tells us why he's so invested in this. He's apparently lost his sister, Lahaka. And he thinks that Rachnian has something to do with it. Because they fell in love or something.
I must admit, Rachnian did a beautiful job. Exquisite work on his part.
I don't know about that, Chief, but we'll see.
We do
be
a bunch of
clear.
snooping.
The DM thought what Rachnian did was all.
Yes. Find some brainjack dudes in like a jail cell.
There's like the completely brainwashed dude that's like sitting there in one of them, right?
Yeah, he was like completely mute. He like talked to him through writing messages on paper.
Yeah. As this is like the second like group of this is the second person you've encountered who's been kind of like brain fucked. So you were a little bit confused. The first group you encountered in the Mind Flayer warehouse, and they were legitimately mind fucked, so they didn't know shit. Like absolutely brain drained. So this is what you figured was going on in the second situation before you realize, oh, this guy's just blind and deaf. Well, no, just deaf and mute, which you eventually figured out.
Yes. I think we sent them off to like the Raven Queen Temple to get healed or something.
Something like
Yes.
that, yeah.
But we find like a secret passageway that leads to like a research room. And a bunch of zombies. That we fight off. And we witness the Ulgerstata.
Oh, big nasty.
Yeah. This is supposed
I'm
to
gonna
be
let, I'm,
the
I'm
like
gonna let you take that.
the super like big bad that is supposed to be summoned by the apostolic scroll. And it like feeds off of people's souls or something.
You would like to chime in, I will. Otherwise, this is all they're getting.
I
Your
mean,
call.
go ahead.
So you when you came back to Elegos with knowledge that the apostolic scrolls were in Diamond Lake, in Port Damali, Elegos was very concerned because the apostolic scrolls were able to summon a creature that was known to be the apostle of Caius. The apostolic scrolls could not only summon this creature, it could make it stronger. You then encounter this creature under the tournament arena, and this creature was in fact the ogre Stada. And after defeating the guy that summoned the ogre Stada, you learned that the big plot here was to basically sacrifice all of the audience for the finale of the tournament, and all their souls would have been forfeit to the ogre Stada. It would have made it extremely powerful, and that would have triggered the Age of Worms, supposedly.
Yes. But since we knew we had to take it out ahead of time, we fought it in the basement and killed it.
Yeah, it was pretty funny when they tried to summon the ogre Stada later and nothing was happening.
Yes. So we got
Yeah, so that was after that was during the break night that you went down into the underchamber.
Yes. And after
I don't know why my man Rachni thought he could have just done this all in a fucking proper tournament. He should have taken a much more hands-on approach.
lucky for us, he didn't. Um. So we do find the apostolic scrolls, which have been used already because the Ulgarsada was there, so it can't really be used again. And then we do also eventually find Lahaka, but she has been zombified. Sad face. So
Because he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna make my girlfriend my undead servant because
yeah,
reasons.
Not,
there's reasons.
not quite.
Not quite, but that's
Basically.
what
Not quite.
as a party, that's what we assumed, right?
Yes.
No,
Yes.
you got the full explanation.
Oh, we did?
Going
Uh,
through the guy's journals.
I see.
Yeah,
What was the
yeah,
reason then?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a warning. This isn't pleasant.
Oh, yeah. Lahaka was zombified, told blackmail over Acom.
Oh, yeah,
No,
that thing.
over Rachnian. Rachnian had killed Akom's sister because he thought she was looking at other dudes. And then the tiefling was just like, well, you already killed her. I'm gonna turn her into a zombie and keep her around, and just in case I need to blackmail you.
Right, yes.
Oh,
But
yeah,
in the
yeah.
meantime, she's a very good wine servant.
Yes. But we took pity on her and killed her. So she didn't have to be a zombie servant forever.
This time not out of jealousy.
Yes, not out of jealousy. And then we make it back without being discovered and fight the rest of the tournament. And this session I was not here for, so I have no notes on this.
I can recap that.
Yes.
So, as you guys are all fighting this glorious tournament, which unfortunately, my servant, Loris Rack, gets up out of his stand. He gives a glorious speech. It would have been an absolutely greatest of all time speech if it had actually been a thing that had actually paid off, but it didn't. He gets up there, he's like, I'm gonna sacrifice all of you, and it's very unfortunate, but I'm gonna sacrifice all of you to the rise of Caius. And he stands there for like 10 minutes, and nothing happens. Because you've already killed the Ogre's daughter.
Yes.
Yeah, that was pretty great. I like how he was just standing there and everyone was very
He
confused.
runs off. Fucking coward. I'll talk with him later. Don't mind that. That's none of your business. But he runs off to get disciplined. And all of you finish the fight because he's too far away to chase. You finish the fight, you win the tournament. You have I believe you had a couple parties after winning the tournament. You spent an
couple.
entire night just drinking your brains out.
Yeah, we made some pretty good cocktails.
And I believe you were there for what happened to Elagos when you sobered down.
Was that when he got K-worded?
Can we not say that word?
Yeah, we can't. It's
This is
banned.
Not anymore.
Wait, what? Is it for real banned on Twitch?
No.
No.
It's fine.
Okay, this is a D&D game. We're gonna be saying the K word a lot.
Yes. We've been saying it like all stream already.
He got K-worded. You know. Soji's done a lot of K-worded in her time.
I watch like a lot of
Yes.
like true crime videos on like YouTube, and whenever they just like censor like a crime word, I'm like, wait, is that a thing?
I
Can
just
we
think
not say
about
that word?
I just think about in cartoons like the Avatar, where like they're not allowed to say kill or like die. So they were like, "I will end you," or like
I
anything
will
to like
send
not.
you to the shadow realm.
Yeah, it's like anything to not say like the words kill or die.
I will send you to the shadow realm, Yugi boy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just think about that.
Okay, well, we're grown ass adults here, and as far as I know, Twitch doesn't have a policy against that particular word. So say
Yes.
what you will.
Yes, it's when Elago sadly passed on.
Yeah, I believe Ron was there for that.
Yes. I think so.
If
I think we
not,
were all
I will.
there.
If not, I will continue.
No, that was at the end because after that you find out that the dragon attacked or
Okay,
whatever.
so yeah, so I will continue.
Yes.
So you win the tournament, and my champion, Loris Rachnian, has run away. And you do a little celebrating, and you think everything is fine. But I assure you, nothing is fine. The next morning, you go to see your friend Elagos to find that his butler Pollard and he himself have been killed. And you rifle through their notes and you find nothing useful. The only thing you find is that you should bring Elagos's notes to his teacher, Manzorian. Your little fucking owl bear. Oh, how I wish the owl bear had died. But the owl bear, couple wounds aside after seemingly tried to intervene on Elagos's behalf, did survive the attack.
I can imagine V and Theo would be on some sort of revenge quest if he got killed.
So I think the conversation with the follow-up conversation with Bupo didn't happen until you were back. Could be wrong.
I think so.
Go ahead.
So the party dashes back to Diamond
Oh,
Lake.
right. Oh, you're skipping the conversation with Bupo.
Okay.
That happened in Port Damali.
Oh, in Port Damali. Okay, never mind. Keep going.
Okay. So, yes. So you try to call home, and you find out that nobody's answering. You call the town guard, Lasco.
They called Lasco.
Called Lasco.
Yeah, we did call Blasco.
You called Commander Trask. You called Alliston. Not a single person answered your call. Dead silence from Diamond Lake. So your plan was to head out the next noon. But before that, young Valette had a change of heart about Mr. Bupo. Had to have a talk with Mr. Bupo. And perhaps Mr. Bupo changed her mind. Because she learned from Mr. Bupo that an automaton of her nature could only be created by taking an original organic vessel and warping the soul, changing it, and making the soul subservient to another master. And now, Valette believes that she used to be, at one time in a prior life, Maki Uemura, before Trent Ickathon changed her into what she is today. But according to Bupo Verdanovsky Thales, this is such an advanced process that there is no way to reverse it. This mechanical monstrosity is who Valette will be for all time.
Dun dun dun.
I don't know anything else about this. I'm
You
just the
don't?
big bad.
I thought you said the big bad knows a lot about us.
I
Knows
only know the
everything
bad
about
thing.
us.
The big bad only knows the bad things.
Makes sense.
I have no solutions to your problems.
I guess you wouldn't be the worm Kage if you could solve all our problems.
You kids with your kages. What is a kage?
That's you.
You need more teenage associates.
Yeah.
You
You need
know,
a more diverse
back in my
game.
day, the biggest thing you wanted to be was a super whatever.
Super whatever?
Yeah,
Are you a super whatever?
I'm a super Caius.
Oh. The super worm Kage.
What the fuck is a kage? I just said I was a super.
That's you.
Look, it was a childhood comic about this monkey-tailed boy that gathered a bunch of orbs that granted him wishes. I don't know anything else about these fucking kages. Oh god, Dragon Ball is now AoW canon.
Yep,
Fuck.
you did this to
AoW and
yourself.
Boston.
What did I do? What have I done?
You
Continue
only you only
before
have
I make this
yourself to
worse.
blame.
Okay,
Please, Ron, continue.
so we finally dash back to Diamond Lake. We see Trask speared up to a sign. We rescue his corpse and get back to the city and find that it is all in ruins.
Can you truly rescue a corpse? It's already dead.
I mean, there are ways, but have access yet.
Yeah,
We'll get there eventually.
we're not big brain enough for that.
So we start digging up some people. Theo has a panic attack. We find Theo's sister, and we do eventually find Theo's parents. Everyone's okay for the most part. They are kind of paralyzed. They're alive.
Yes. My
We
servant took her dad's arm. Not the same as his life, but an arm is pretty good. And her mom can't walk anymore. But perhaps I'll get to that. I feel like an awful person.
Yep. Some guards show up, and we find out that Alliston disappeared. Went to go look in the Windhoek tombs, more stuff. So we give chase, and one of the blocked pathways from earlier has now been opened. A new path, thanks to Allison. So we enter, and it teleports us over to the big head honcho's tomb. Oh, but before we get into the tomb, we fight Ilthane and some Dracotars.
You may have defeated Ilthane, But this is not the end of my security force.
Security force?
You call it your security force?
I'm working on a name here.
That's one way to put it, I guess.
You
This
should
is
call
not
it. You should call it the Anbu. Because
this is
you're
not the
Kage.
last.
you're the worm Kage, so you should.
Perhaps you have overcome ill thing. But Dragatha will stop you all. I have faith in Dragatha.
Good, because we don't. Um.
Yep.
So after defeating Ilthane, we enter the tomb. And it's a lot of dungeon crawling. We fight some ghouls. We do some.
Worst dungeon in the game.
Yes, this dungeon was like an entire session too long.
It was like the vertical part was
Was
something too.
yeah, really bad.
I never want to see another vertical map in my life.
That was the worst.
It was the first and last time.
I get it. It's like a cool idea, but in actual functionality, it doesn't work.
If it was like not like one character wide,
like I feel like if you played that map in person, you could probably like work it in a way that works.
yeah,
But like on like Roll20, there's no way to make that work.
it's not great.
Because like on like if you played it like in person, you could like just take the map and pin it into a wall, right?
Yeah.
But
And
like,
then all your
Roll20
minis
is,
fall to
like,
the ground.
Yeah, and you could just like pretend where your minis are. You could like play tic-tac-toe. But like in Roll20, it's just like, yeah, figure it out.
Good luck. Yeah, so we do a lot of puzzle solving, a lot of exploring.
You ran a jump quest.
We did a jump quest. There's a lot of people that are sentient in here, surprisingly. There's a spider. Let's see. So first, let's see. There was the spike trap room. There's an elder black pudding. There's a lizard folk guard. Tells us that we have to go fight the elder black pudding because we ran away from it. In order to get further on into the tomb. There's the spider who wants us to go kill a ghoul for him. And he also tells us that he saw Allison come through. We're like, okay, we'll do this for you. We explore like the river area, and we find Allison's been captured in some orb thing. And we also find some like ice elemental giant things. And we decide to clear the dungeon floor first before getting to Allison. So we fight all ice elementals.
I just want to say, you guys are all a bunch of awful friends.
I mean, he wasn't in immediate danger.
I suppose so, but I'm just saying, you're all a bunch of assholes.
It's okay.
Feel
he doesn't know that we put him off.
I feel like it hurts a little more when a super worm Kage calls us assholes.
Right.
I still don't know what a Kage is, but I'm gonna call you an asshole.
You
Okay, old man.
you leave your friends, you immediately rescue your friends. Is that the kind of person Caius is?
The Caius is?
I don't know what a Kage is. I just know I ritually sacrificed all my friends 2,000 years ago.
I feel like this is a little bit of a calling the kettle black moment.
Moment. Yeah.
I mean, I kind of hinted at it before I killed them all. And if they couldn't pick up on the hint, I guess that's probably their fault.
So you're saying as long as we hint before we do something assholey, then it's fine, right?
Yes, I hinted at it for 6 months before I murdered them.
I guess our problem was that we didn't hint to Allison that we would ignore him. So
For
that
the
was
time
our
being.
issue. Yes.
Yes.
Next time we
From-
should hint it first.
From my observations, young Valette made a very good show of being friends with Alliston.
Valette is
Valette likes magic users.
Valette
Yes.
is emotionally challenged.
She's
Also,
also
yes.
very brutal of a person, and coming from
Also,
me, I feel
yes.
like that's saying something.
I think like 5 sessions from now, I have to change Valette's name, and it's going to be very challenging.
I'm probably gonna keep calling her
We are
Valette on
going to
accident.
be calling Valette for like 5 sessions after
Yeah.
that.
Okay, that's
Well-
going to be up to you guys.
But we kill all the ice elementals. We rescue Alliston. We find the ghoul that the spider wanted us to kill, and he had the key to get into the main area of the tomb. Flycatcher, that was the spider's name.
Yes.
Oh yes, there's the jump puzzle. We suffered for like 2 hours on the jump puzzle.
So.
That was way too long for a jump puzzle.
Yes.
I think I told you before we got onto the session that it was a jump puzzle, and you still treated it like a jump puzzle, like
Yes.
a puzzle, like an actual puzzle.
Like a puzzle.
I told you it was a jump quest, and you were like, "This is a puzzle."
This is absolutely a puzzle. You can't fool us. Narrator voice, we were fooled. But when it was all said and done, we got to Ecoziel's tomb. Oh yeah, there was some invisible demon figure guarding the tomb, but we beat him up. We get a whole bunch of stuff, including a broken section of the Rod of Law. And we obtain the Winduke's blessing. It seems that Ecoziel's spirit seems to understand that their time here has passed. They've left, abandoned the place, and it is up to us to continue to fight the good fight or something like that. So we get a bunch of magic items, a bunch of stuff activates. Everyone leaves us alone because we have the thing. And we tie up loose ends at Diamond Lake.
You did acquire one particularly powerful magical item. You acquired the 7th segment of the Rod of Law.
Yes.
At this point, now known as the Rod of 7 Parts.
Get a free heal a day.
Oh, wow.
Yes. Which I don't think anyone is actually attuned to yet.
Not yet.
I don't think
This
so.
is fine. We'll attune to it when we need the heal. And by then it'll be too late. But back in town, share the good news that we have slain Ilthane, taken revenge for the attack on the city. Alliston seems to have organized like transfer of everyone, or Thea, I guess. And they're going to move everyone to Diastock.
Yes.
give Aliston Elagos's body. Go bury over at Diastock. And he says that we should go see his teacher, Manzorian, at Business Tell. And the best way to get there, well, Valette can teleport to Rexentrum.
Okay. My headphones is just something really weird where it basically just went full binaural,
Nice.
and I can basically only hear Ron out of the right headset.
Amazing.
Interesting.
I'm gonna plug this back in again real quick because this is very weird.
It's
I don't need Ron. You're great. I don't need you whispering in my ear.
it's
ASMR.
it's
Okay, I can hear
recap
you.
ASMR.
I can hear you in both ears again.
Okay. We're almost done though. Yeah, Allison also recommends that we should try to seek an audience with the king, King Dwendal in Rexentrum if we can, to sort of prepare a plan B just in case Manzorian is unable to help. But Manzorian's like all-knowing super wizard, so he can probably help. We all say our goodbyes to Diamond Lake. Everyone leaves, and we teleport off to. Oh no! We are getting ready to leave, and a whole bunch of Order of Condor people show
Right.
up.
Them folks again.
Yes, to reprimand V. And
Well,
that is the end of session 25. So the recap ends there.
Do we want to
Wow.
end it there, or do we want to include the extra session that we did?
I keep these in 25 session chunks, so we'll
Okay,
do that
okay, then we can end it right there.
next recap. Yeah,
You mean when we finish the
when we
campaign?
finish the campaign. Yes.
Okay, I can always tune in for the end of the campaign when Kai is just like, "Oh God, I lost again."
Yes. Emo,
We're like,
mopey, Caius.
We're like, you never learn, old man.
The second
Beat you
half
up
of that
again.
recap was actually a lot easier because I had to actually like tune in a lot more. Because they were just like fine details where like I had to be like actually out of character.
Yes.
God.
I thought
What
it was
compel-
I thought it was pretty funny how it felt like you were like a different chain smoking character, like as the session went on.
Yeah, like at the start, like, oh yeah, Caius has been like through like 6 packs of cigarettes, but yet he was on his like 20th pack.
He's just gone off the deep end.
Yeah. He needs an intervention.
Cause like I
Yep.
don't like voice act for like any other character, so I had no idea how to keep it consistent.
I mean, I guess that's
This
how
is why
you
you need to
learn. Right?
practice.
For when Caius comes, you need to make that voice.
Yeah.
I don't think Caius is gonna have a whole lot of lines.
You
He's
need
just gonna
to come up
show
with
up.
a monologue for him when he shows
Yeah.
up.
Well, I will. I guess now that he has a voice, I kind of have to.
And because it's gonna take 20 sessions to get to him, you're gonna forget the voice by the time he shows up.
Wait, I think Chainsmoker David is a very easy voice to remember. Just do the voice that hurts my throat.
Yes.
Yeah, if you forget, we'll just remind you that it's the
Yeah.
chain smoker voice.
Just prepare some
Just
cough
to
drops
be
ahead of time.
clear, if anyone is actually watching this recap, I will not be rewatching this recap because I hate the sound of the voice. So I will be depending entirely on Ron and Christina's recount of my voice in case I forget what a chain smoker sounds like.
Okay.